Hi, I want to show how I've made a game called Flying Tin Boy for iOS. I used Xcode. So here you see the little game here where I have my flying character here, and I spawn stars and I spawn small bees. So you have to avoid the bees and you have to collect the stars. So you have 3 lives and you control by tapping or swiping up and down. And I only got 1 life left, so I have to avoid the bees here. So in the final game I think I'll give the bees some more momentum, so it's harder to play when it gets harder and harder to play. I think that'll be fun. So now I'll just crash and see the game over screen here, and you can tap to play again. So we are counting the points over here and the lives to the left here. So you have 3 lives, and I want to make a high score as well and maybe put it on the game center. That's my plan at least. So I'll just stop the simulator here and I'll just give a peek into to Xcode here where I have my project. So this is not a tutorial, it's just a look into to the process in Xcode. So over here you see in the, what's it called, the project, what's it called here? Project Navigator, you see I have a sound library here with a helicopter loop and a collect sound and a coin and a hit by bee sounds. And I was starting to use some components on player entity, but I didn't finish this. It's part of the gameplay kit where you can build an architecture of a game architecture where you use player entities and assign components to these entities. So that's a smart way I want to dig into later. But for this game I've only used the regular SpriteKit. So I started a new project and I choose Spritekitgame and use SpriteKit option to make a game. So I used the regular game scene, and I've just put in my little character here as a color sprite. I drag in a color sprite and I find my texture over here, and then I start to I give it a reference. So I have my player here. I call it player up here, so I can in my code it's the game scene where I run my game. Then I can reference my player, so you can see I have my player here, which is a sprite node. And then in did move to view, I have a load scene nodes function here where I find my player. Let's see here. Here I call my player, find the child node with name player, and I assign it to a variable called player, and then I assign that variable to the self player sprite node I made up here. This one. So that player I give some animation. In my asset catalog I have 5 frames with the flying tin boy. So those frames I assign to my character. Here I have a setup animation function. Let's see where I have it. So here I have animate flying. So I have 5 frames here, and I've given them the name from 1 to 5 in the asset catalog, and I preset it flying tin boy. And then I made an array of textures, and I append the textures to this. And then I make a fly animation called SKAction, where I repeat forever, and I use my fly textures here, and I set the time per frame to this number here. And then I assign the SKAction to my player, and then he will look like his propeller is running. And I have the same with the little bee here. I have only two frames for that little character, and I assign a bee animation for that one. And I spawn the bees from right to left, and you can see here I've put them just outside my play area here. So I have the star sprite here, and I have the bee sprite here called enemy. And my background is consists of two elements, two platforms, which only for now has these ground. I've rotated it. These ground textures, and I have two of those because then I can animate it from right to left, and when the first one reaches its full size negative out here, I move it back to the second place of the background, and that way I loop them from so they continue rolling in from the right. And I do that with the hills and the skies in the background here, which is called background. Backgrounds and background 2. I only have one background 0 here in as a static object behind, because I have some gaps I have to figure out how to deal with. But I do the same, but with a lower speed of those backgrounds in the distance, so it will look like a parallax effect here. You can see when I run my game here, the hills and the sky moves a little slower than the front grass and earth character or textures here. So the next part would be to maybe put in some middle ground here, so you have real parallax effects here. But I'll check for collision. I've put on physics body to my characters and my obstacles. So when they collide, I look for a collision in my scene here, where I have put the scene as an SK physics contact delegate. So this scene will listen for contact between physics bodies, and there's this did begin contact, which listens to the contact between body A and body B. So here we have the player category and the star category, and when those two collides or are in contact, I add 1 point to my point variable and update the label of the point score. And another collision is between the player and the B, and at that occasion I subtract 1 from the lives, and I check if lives is 0, and then I run the game over function. So the game over function is down here, and that one will present a new scene called game over scene and transition it in from left. So my game over scene is this one, and it has its own class called game over scene, which is here, where I only have one function or two functions. I listen to touches began, and it calls this touchdown, and from here I call self a new game, and then I run the starter game again. So that's the little loop I have for now. So maybe this will evolve into a game on App Store. I only have to finish some details with the bee animation and high score, and then I think I'll try and maybe Game Center, as I said. But for now, I hope you enjoyed. So I'll just play once more so you can see how it looks. So, thanks. Okay, I died. Bye.